The bloodthirsty world of Barbie. Now, I'm not gonna be surprised. Honestly, wait. Are Barbie dolls made in China? Give me a second. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, GG's. She's still made in Indonesia and China. Yeah, just off of that fact, it's not looking good for this. It's not looking good for this. Of course. Let's go.
It's one of the most influential and iconic toys ever created, and since its inception in 1959, it survived the test of time, adapting to cultural tastes each generation. However, that doesn't mean that it's had a smooth ride to where it is today, and in the wake of the new Barbie movie coming out, I thought now would be a good time to talk about it.
By the way, what's up with the marketing for this movie? Is anybody here gonna watch the Barbie movie? I swear, I've seen this on every single app I own. I've been getting notifications for the Barbie movie. I'm not watching it. Hey, I'm a real man. I'm gonna be sitting there watching. I'm gonna be honest, this is the real man's movie. This is a real man's movie.
From their sex doll inspired origins to the Chinese sweatshop workers who were paid less than—
Oh my god! I'm him! Come on now. I knew it! I told y'all. I said, is it made in China? And I called it out. God, I'm so good at this thing. Oh my god. I'm so good at this. I'm a master marketer. I just know what I'm doing at this point, like.
Than 2 pounds a day to make.
Thank you to those little Chinese children. Y'all are some real ones.
Make them, there are few brands who have been through the ringer as much as Barbie. But to address the elephant in the room, yeah, I'm a guy, and I never really played with Barbie too much growing up. I know that—
Actually, that is very homophobic. That is very sexist. What's wrong with guys playing with Barbies, huh? I don't actually very like that. Somebody cancel. I'm playing. I'm
be a lot of women specifically who have deep sentimental memories with Barbie, which I simply never had. But I do think that that's a good thing in this instance, because I think I have a bit of distance between myself and the brand, so hopefully I can talk about it from a more unbiased perspective. So with that said, let's begin at the beginning.
Wait, what? My bad. I blanked out for a second. What does that say? I blanked out for a second. I just look up and then my eyes actually awoken and I saw see this in full text. I guess Barbie was doing more than— never mind. I'm not gonna
It was March 1959, so 64
Let
years—
me go get a Barbie doll now. You're going to hell.
Ago that the American toy company Mattel launched this revolutionary doll. And though Barbie would become the inspiration for many new dolls that came after it, before it was released, Barbie itself was in need of some inspiration. Mattel's co-founder Ruth Handler is said to have modeled the doll after this one right here, the Build Lily doll.
Wow.
Now you might be thinking, Fox, what the hell is that thing? She looks like some sort of weird spooky—
I mean, to be fair, this is what I imagine like women born back then kind of looked like you know, in the 50s. This is how they all look like for some reason.
mega mind looking—
I don't know, is that ageist or something? Hey there, Tommy NFG here. Just a little reminder to make sure to subscribe, because only about 30% of you guys watching this are actually subscribed. Also tune into the Twitch streams every once in a while. You know, we have a lot of fun there. There's a lot of fun that goes on there. So I'm ending it right here. Let's get back to the video. I don't know, it just takes me back.
And I mean, you're not wrong. She might have been. Here's the deal. Barbie has arguably for a long time towed the line in what messages it's been sending young girls. For every potentially sexist aspect of the brand, there have also been—
Hold on, what'd that say?
Messages it's been sending—
Unrealistic standards, empowering. Wait, what? Unrealistic standard and I'm
young
confused.
girls. For every potentially—
Usually I get paid for doing my job, but this time just high fives will be okay.
Sexist aspect of the brand, there have also been Barbies that have sent very positive messages to the youth. These days, Barbie dolls tend to be quite representative, and Barbie is often seen as a doctor or a vet or an astronaut. Build Lily, on the other hand, didn't do that at all. It's generally thought that Build Lily was a joke gift that was sold at kiosks and newsagents, but these toys weren't sold to children, no, they were sold to fully grown men. To get to the bottom of this joke though—
So is this supposed to be like those anime figures where like dudes will get them with like the fucking— y'all know those anime figures where like you could borderline take off and see everything? You could take off like the clothes and stuff. They only sell them in like special parts of places. Yeah.
We need to head back to 1952 because that's when the Build Lily comics came out. And this is where we get to understand a little bit more of Lily's character.
Guys, you can just search it up. It's legit a thing, by the way. It's not Everybody knows it's legit a thing.
She was
before pre-body pillow era.
Portrayed as a gold digger, a money-obsessed floozy who was constantly flirting with men and constantly getting naked. Remember, this is 1952, so it's even more extreme, but even by today's standards, she would still be seen as just a little bit of a hoe. These toys were manufactured after the comics, and so some people said that they were sex dolls because they were inspired by a very promiscuous character, even if they're not sex dolls as we know them today. Mattel would later buy the rights to Lily, and her production stopped in 1964. But let it be known that for a doll known as the
she looked like a wreck. Ugh.
grandmother of Barbie, this granny really got around. Now, you might think that the way that Build Lily was portrayed was perhaps a little bit sexist, and in all fairness, you might be right, but the Barbie brand
to be fair, this is the 50s, right? Didn't he say that?
Is not without its sexist controversies either. You might wonder if it even matters, because at the end of the day, it's just a cheap piece of plastic in a costume, right? But you couldn't be further from wrong. That cheap piece of plastic can be the difference between health and illness in some cases, and it can also help us understand society at large. It sounds mad to say, but I genuinely believe it, so let's talk about it.
Devil by design? Interesting.
Again, I'm not kidding here, I have a plethora of sources to help. So to recap, Barbie releases in 1959 to roughly 300,000 sales in its first year. This thing was an instant success, but it also drew instant criticism because, as we've covered before, originally some people looked at this doll and its proportions and thought that just like Build Lily before it, she was targeted towards grown men. But of course, there would have been some people, especially in the United States, that would have never seen the German Build Lily doll, so you have to question why did they think that this was a toy for older people? And
you know what I'm wondering? Y'all think they did the thing with jars back then? Like the dudes in there, they did the thing with jars? Nah, there's no way. They had to do something, right?
Though from a modern lens, it might be quite difficult to understand why. You have to remember that in the 1930s and 40s, dolls looked like this. Or this, or whatever the hell even this is.
Yeah, no.
What the hell is even that?
Dolls before this looked like little girls because little girls were playing with them, and so the thought was that it was easier for them to relate to these sorts of dolls. Barbie, however, is meant to be about 19, not a little girl, and so this was something new for the general public. Now, I really don't want to rag on Barbie for the entirety of this video because it's not all black and white. She's not entirely bad, but she's not without her faults either. By aging her up, Mattel allowed their market to play with their dolls in a different way than we've seen before. A creepy 1930s baby doll doesn't suit going to work or making a career, but Barbie on the other hand allowed its market to use their imagination more actively and play with Barbie in a more progressive way, envisioning Barbie as a woman in work as opposed to purely mothering the doll. This was a huge positive when it came to the design of the doll. However, some argue that its design might have been somewhat of a poison chalice because of something that's been uttered over and over again. Barbie, as I'm sure you know, has an impossible figure to replicate. It is physically impossible, it cannot be done. And for the little girls that might have looked up to Barbie as an older sister or a role model because they've aged her up compared to the dolls that came before her, this might have been very problematic. We have had generations upon generations of women grow up playing with Barbies, so let me admit that this isn't a pressing issue that's about to crush civilization as we know it. However, it might have negatively impacted it based on just how much kids are influenced by their toys without them even knowing it. There was a study done back in the 1940s by Kenneth and Mamie Clark that studied both black and white children's responses to a black and white doll. They found that dark-skinned children mostly preferred the light-skinned doll to the dark-skinned one and even deemed it to be more beautiful, despite the fact that both dolls were the exact same in every way, minus the skin color. Various studies have been conducted throughout the past 80 years to try and replicate the Clark study, and the overwhelming consensus is that both black and white children have a preference for lighter skinned dolls, and dark skinned children frequently refer to the fair skinned doll as good.
I need to see that report, there's no way. This is actually crazy to see, even nowadays.
And deemed the dark skinned doll as bad. Some, when asked, even thought that they looked more like the light skinned doll, even if that was not the case. The findings of these studies have indeed lessened since the 1940s, but nonetheless, even as...
Oh yeah, it was definitely the 40s, bro. Like, They were taught to hate yourself. Like, you were taught to hate yourself if you're fucking black.
Decade ago, these studies still show a preference for lighter skin tones. Many people have attributed the reasoning behind these findings to be internalized racism. This way of thinking, many people believe can be quite harmful, and so to relate this back to Barbie, you therefore have to start questioning, does the same rule apply? Do young girls think less of themselves because they don't have the same body type as Barbie? Could Barbie lead to young girls wanting to starve themselves to try and replicate her
And bro,
look?
really think of it too. This is like only back then. Now with social media, y'all, I swear, social media literally makes you insecure in some shit you don't even think about. Tell me right now in this chat, y'all have not gotten insecure from some random shit you've seen that you don't care about. I swear to you. It happens to literally everybody. Even something you didn't even think of, and then you see it and you're like, damn. Yeah, I don't have that. That's rough. But hey, it is what it is. No, to be honest, not really. I mean, hey, some of y'all stronger, but a lot of people, I'm telling y'all right now, a lot of people are like that. There's been a couple times, like, it took me a while to even get over being insecure in some type of way. It only really happened, like, probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, but I know the feeling, because I was there.
Look, well, frighteningly, there is evidence to suggest that that could be the case.
The weight of I thought you were talking about literally weight. The literal weight.
Now, straight up, I don't know how much of this is known by the general public, but as I stated before in this video, Barbie's body type is physically impossible. I found a source written by Study Breaks that claims that based on her proportions, if Barbie was real, she would be 5'9", have a 39-inch bust, an 18-inch waist, 30-inch hips, and would wear a size 3 shoe. She would weigh approximately 110 pounds, and she would not only be considered anorexic, but so thin that she would be physically
What the hell? I mean, to be fair, it's literally a fucking doll. It's like a little doll. But this is a ridiculous rounding it up.
Able to walk. Instead, if she was real, she would have to walk on all fours. Now, you might say,
actually, Barbie was never meant to be realistic. She's simply meant to be a doll and only partly based on the human form.
And that
That's
might
lucky what I said. I'm not a nerd now.
be a fair argument.
But I meant it in like
even older
not in a
dolls from the
bad way.
1930s don't exactly look like they have real.
Who was buying this doll back then? Kids were not that dumb to be buying dolls like this. Imagine you're a kid, you got your nice little dolls, right? Because, you know, you like your dolls, you got them in the corner. In the middle of the night, you wake up and you see this thing staring at you.
Realistic proportions.
Nasty
Nor do
ass
action
feet.
figures that young boys play with. Arts and products don't always have to replicate life, and we shouldn't have to limit our creative freedoms to only what's within the realms of possibility. However, the unfortunate truth is that even if that is the case, that doesn't make the impact that Barbie has on young girls any less damning. And when you actually look into things, the traditional Barbie has a lot to answer for. A little while ago now, a group of researchers decided to conduct a study and publish their findings on ScienceDirect.com. They took 112 girls, aged from 6 to 8 years old, and each were assigned one of 4 different dolls, including a traditionally skinny Barbie doll, a more full-figured Tracy doll based off the character Tracy.
Whoa, whatever happens in here, Twitch, listen. I'm not fat phobic, okay? I'm actually a very family-friendly streamer, YouTube as well. So whatever comes of this study, we over here are not. We are all, you know.
Turnblad from Hairspray, these dolls would be randomly dressed in either a swimsuit or in more modest attire. The first thing that they noticed was that the girls desired a body type similar to the doll that they were given. So if they were given a skinnier doll, they would be more likely to desire a skinnier body themselves. This idea wasn't so present in the girls that were given a more rounded doll. And you might be shocked to hear just how quickly this desire kicked in. They found that girls between 6 and 8 years old who played with Barbie dolls for as little as 3 minutes became less satisfied with their own body size afterwards than those who used more full-figure dolls. The dolls wearing swimsuits were also generally more negative for the girls' self-esteem compared to the dolls wearing more modest outfits. Now you have to ask yourself that if this study can be trusted and the researchers did in fact notice a desire to be skinnier after just 3 minutes.
I'm trying to think of it from like a guy's perspective. Like, what did guys play with as, what did we play with as kids? Probably like Hot Wheels. I'm trying to think, what figures did guys play with? Maybe WWE figures, like definitely WWE figures for sure. G.I. Joe, yeah, true. Mainly, yeah, a lot of cars. For me, it was mainly WWE. Like, I don't know. I never really felt that. That could just be me, though, but I never really, like, wanted to be big. Honestly, wanted to be, like, I don't even want to be big like that, honestly. I just wanted to be fucking healthy and not, you know, fat.
What's about after 3 hours, or 3 days, or 3 years? The researchers concluded by saying that the way around this seems to be to encourage children to play with dolls that more accurately portray a healthy human body. And to be fair, Barbie has acknowledged that, and so they brought out curvy Barbies which were allegedly supposed to accommodate this, but even curvy Barbies are almost the exact same deal.
Yo, curvy is crazy, what?
According to the BBC, a curvy Barbie would be 5'6" tall, would have a 63cm waist, or a size 6 to 8 in UK sizes, and would have a hip size of 91.2cm, which equates to a size 8 in UK sizes. Not physically impossible by all means, but still a far way off the average size of a UK woman, which tends to be a size 14 for both hips and waist. Of course, there are some petite women out there that are much closer in size to this Barbie, but also keep in mind that this is a plus size. To get real for a moment, eating disorders are much more common in women than they are in men, and though it would be completely ridiculous to claim that Barbie is the sole reason behind this, to what extent a child's formative years truly plays a part currently has no answer. And Barbie would play a big part of those formative years for many, many women. So the brand could potentially play a very large part in this, or perhaps a very small part, or maybe no part at all. We really just don't know. And as I covered in my video about
Bro, it's just like everything just tumbles down. Like, I swear, I'm confused. What's the next generation thing gonna be? Because it as you can see here, it's like Barbie dolls for little girls back then. Now it's like TikTok influencers and shit, right? They're gonna insecure off seeing these TikTok influencers and whatever, their bodies, this and that. I wonder what the next thing's gonna be.
It's not like
Peppa Pig.
swapping out a Barbie doll for an iPad is going to help at all. If anything, I
give
suspect
them all Hot
that
Wheels
would be
instead.
Worse. Nonetheless, boys were never studied in this case. Maybe it's because there's no male equivalent to Barbie. I mean, if you're thinking
That's
of
cap. The male equivalent to Barbie is Spider-Man for sure. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Maybe G.I. Joe 30 years ago, maybe Hot Wheels, but comparing cars and dolls is like comparing apples and oranges. Could Barbie be subconsciously telling young girls that they need to be skinny to be beautiful? Because that's what Barbie is, right? She can be absolutely anything that you can imagine her to be, but at the end of the day, she has been designed to be beautiful. So for that reason, she's seen as a beacon of beauty to many, but at what cost does this come?
A financial incentive. Well, no shit, they want to make money. Let me let them talk.
Once again, I want to remind you that Barbie is many things, both potentially positive and negative. To some people, she is a big feminist figure telling young girls that they can be whatever they dream of. To others, she's actually quite regressive. If we take things back to the early years of Barbie, a lot of time goes by without too much change to the brand. Throughout the 60s and 70s, very little is different about
hair. Forgot their hair used to look like this.
About her physically. She still dons the skinny white blonde look that she's most famous for. Dolls are released showing Barbie in different careers, but the design of Barbie herself doesn't drastically change. It isn't until the 1980s that the brand starts to make a shift to really try and push for more diversity. In the year 1980, Barbie releases the first black and Hispanic dolls.
1980? Yo, that's not even like long ago. It took them that long. Wait, when was Barbie made? They said the 50s? Holy shit. That actually isn't long ago. Like, bro, my fucking dad, for example, is older than this.
In 1985, Mattel releases the CEO Barbie, and this is the same year that they released the Girls Can Do Anything campaign, telling young girls that they can do whatever they put their mind to as long as they try. In 1992, she runs for president. In 2016, plus-size Barbies are released, and in 2020...
Wait, when? Let me hear that again.
She runs for president. In 2016, plus-size Barbies are released, and in 2020, it was announced that Mattel wanted to redefine what it meant to be Barbie or to look like Barbie. Releasing dolls with prosthetic limbs, releasing dolls with vitiligo, releasing dolls with no hair, all part of their fashionista line.
This had to cause some controversy or something.
Which included 176 dolls with 9 different body...
Is that... Oh no, that's still Barbie? Okay, I'm not getting canceled. I avoid the cancellation. I was about to say, is that Ken? I think that's supposed to still be Barbie, right?
Types, 35 different skin tones, and just shy of 100 hairstyles. And though that might be a more light-hearted end to things, Barbie in the modern day being very progressive and saying that girls, regardless of who they are, regardless of their skin color, regardless of what they look like, can be beautiful, I think that it's time for us to talk about the financial incentives that come along with this. In a world ever growing in diversity, it makes business
you know for a fact they made a bag off that.
to make their dolls more diverse. But did they do this because they wanted to make a change, or did they do this because their profits were falling? This chart here shows you Barbie doll sales throughout the past decade. If you notice, they were steadily falling throughout the early to mid 2000s.
Yeah, because I feel like the sales are falling off as technology is introduced. Or it went up, actually. It went up and then it went down during COVID. But most of the time, I feel like my little cousin, for example, she has like, what is that game called? Y'all remember that one game with the kitty, like the little kitty girl? Angela the cat. Angela the cat, that one. Like, my little cousin has that, and she loves like that little game, but I feel like it's replaced. It's kind of replaced now.
Let's get it right. Barbie is an old property, and the fact that she's managed to maintain her popularity for all of this time,
I mean, that's usually for the guys, yeah,
is an absolute testament to Mattel, but it did seem like for a moment about a decade ago that she was on her way out. However, you'll notice that towards the end of the decade, Barbie sales began growing to higher levels than they were previous, this being around the time that Mattel really honed in on diversity. Christina Merkitt, a journalist for The Spectator, wrote that while she did in fact like the idea of more diverse Barbies, she thought that this was just another example of a brand trying to capitalize on virtue signaling, though not truly having good intentions. Now, it's entirely possible that Mattel wanted to simultaneously turn a profit and create a line of diverse new Barbies. But at the very least, there are financial incentives at play. There could be selfish motivations here. And
bro, I be thinking that sometimes too with these companies, like, yeah, it's good to have all this shit, but sometimes I be thinking behind. This is what I imagine whenever they end up like doing some shit like that. Hold up. Like this is the niggas I imagine when they start making these changes. This is what they be looking like in the boardrooms. Like, yeah, sure, it's definitely a good cause, but these are the dudes behind it. And I be thinking like, hey, I don't know what some of y'all are thinking, but I can't trust them. But I guess a good change is a good change overall. Y'all really think those old fucks actually care? They don't. They don't.
If the next segment of this video is going to tell you anything, it's that for Mattel, they would potentially go against everything that Barbie stands for if it means that they can make some cold, hard cash.
The price of plastic.
When I started doing research into Mattel and the Barbie brand, I had no idea just how far down the rabbit hole of lies, exploitation, and hypocrisy would go. But after I stumbled upon this report by The Independent,
poverty pay of doll workers. Damn, 1995? You couldn't find one at least in the last century?
Painted Barbie.
They got articles this old online?
A whole new light to me. The story goes that back in 1995, it was found that several of the largest toy brands in the world, such as Fisher-Price, Hasbro, Disney, and in our case Mattel, grossly underpaid workers out in Asia where their toys were being manufactured.
This isn't a shocker.
The report claims that back then in 1995, Mattel spent...
This is like the most least shocking thing I've seen from this entire video.
$2.76 or £1.80 on advertising each Barbie, and they sold 2 Barbie dolls somewhere in the world every second.
Oh my
God. The $2.76 spent on marketing each Barbie, however, was more than the daily salaries for the people who made them in factories out. Oh my God. The report went on to say that 90%...
Yo, I know we make a lot of jokes about this. It's actually like so sad really thinking about it. Like, yeah, we can make a lot of jokes about it and stuff, you know, but
of Barbie dolls were made in southern China in 2 factories which employ 8,000 workers between them. A worker would have to do their job for 523
what do you mean
years to
by
match
that?
the amount that Mattel spent on advertising the Barbie brand in 1 day. However, there was also some severe irony to this, something so ironic that it's almost laughable, because when you look at the people employed to work on these Barbies, the severely underpaid workers, 90% of them were women. So of course, Mattel...
That's not real, right? That's not real. I'm gonna need a stat check on that. That is not real. They are trolling. They are trolling. The hypocrisy, bro. I'm telling y'all. It's that exact thing I said, bro, with those businessmen in those suits. Those old fucks that be adding, like, you just can't trust them.
I was telling young girls that they can be whatever they wanted to be, provided what they wanted to be was a worker making £2 a day in a factory in South China. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this report was made in 1995, so you might be thinking that it's a bit harsh of me to criticize Mattel for something that they were doing 6 years before I was born, and you might be right in saying that, if they also stopped then too, but as it pains me to admit, this
is... Oh yeah, you know they're not stopping. I mean, bro, those wages? What are they gonna pay an American employee $8 an hour? Not even $8 now. Americans, man, they protest too much. They protest way too much. It's gonna have to be like $12 an hour.
Still very much an ongoing issue. Ever since the turn of the century, an organization called China Labor Watch has been keeping a close eye on Chinese toy factories, believing that when parents choose toys for their children, they have the right to know about the unfair treatment and exploitation that the workers that made those toys experience. Towards the
Like, I can imagine one of those, like, those female employees just walking out the factory. They say, like, a little girl with a doll or something like that. And after that, the girl looks up and she's like, oh, what? You work at the factory? I want to be amazing. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be everything like Barbie. And then they're like, kid. You know, we can't choose everything in life. Can't choose everything in life. You're probably gonna end up at the same spot as me. It is what it is. That's just what I'm imagining. Oh, this is actually so sad.
At the end of 2020, they reported that many workers in a toy factory
Tommy, pause the stream. I gotta take a shower. Alright, y'all.
manufacturing Barbies in the
like 15 seconds. That's how long I take my showers.
Were subjected to extremely harsh working conditions. The report wrote, one of the workers is so exhausted because of the high production targets each day that her body ached all over and she could not help but cry in the dormitories. Another female worker was sexually harassed, and the male worker who sexually harassed her even threatened to hit her. Although this happened inside a toy factory, nobody thought that there was anything wrong. More importantly, nobody felt the need to stop these abuses from happening. Many of these workers were on 10-hour shifts from Monday to Saturday and only had 30 minutes for lunch each day. They had to produce over 100 products an hour, and if they didn't meet their daily goal, they would have to stay behind after work, unpaid until it was finished.
Bro, I swear, this is the scenario like boomers be wanting Gen Z to be in. Like, Gen Z is definitely lazy. Like, there's hella lazy people, but bro, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Those fucking old people that sit down all day like, your generation doesn't work. I walked to school. It took me 20 hours to get to school. You know how long it took me? We didn't have anything. We didn't have no TikTok. We worked 1,000 hours a week with $2 2 cents the hour on the hour. It's like, shut up, bro. This is exactly what they want for us.
Many workers way exceeded China's law on overtime hours, often by putting in
as a part of Gen I. Okay, that's not even. First off, nobody in Gen fucking X is in my chat right now. Second off, it is not Gen I.
Double or even triple the time during peak
right,
months. And workplace psychological violence was commonplace. Workers would be verbally berated for going slowly. If a worker was injured on the job, they'd be berated for not being careful. During COVID, masks weren't worn even if they were asked for. The China Labor Watch
that's really ironic considering never mind. I'm gonna get cancelled.
Investigation also found that sexual harassment was not only commonplace, but higher ups would also sometimes jump in on it too. An example of this sort of culture being normalized was that it was reported that in a WeChat group, a worker at the factory decided to share the contact information of sex workers with everyone else in there. Furthermore, I briefly touched on it before, but safety precautions were essentially non-existent. Chinese labor law dictates that there were meant to be 24 hours of safety training required for this job, but most employees state that they only received 4. The workers are simply ill-trained for what they do, and therefore workplace injuries are frequent. The report went on to expose that workers in the spray painting workshop were exposed to dangerous chemicals every day, and some employees had paint in their nostrils after work. They weren't provided with any special protective masks.
No, bro, they in the fucking elementary school test cubicles? It's not funny, this is sad though. But tell me this is not like those fucking elementary school cubicles when you were taking tests? You had to like hide in these small little, was that just me? Did anybody else at school have these? Where like you were separated with these little binders, everybody was at their table? Yes.
Instead of being given a surgical mask which cannot properly filter harmful aerosol. To skim through just a few more points, just by being in the room, you could visibly see people with clear minor injuries because of their work. Maternity pay is stipulated, but the report couldn't find just how long workers got, though based on all of this, I can't assume that it was a lot.
Oh my god, like it's really, like there's nothing, this is terrible.
To add to all of this, workplace representatives were essentially non-existent, and when workers reported miscalculations on their paychecks, the higher-ups were unwilling to listen until threatened with further action. This is all to say that even up until this very day, a lot of the Barbies that are up on the shelves in stores or in your own homes in the hands of your daughter or your younger sister or your younger cousin, or perhaps even the ones that you grew up with, were made with the blood, the sweat and the tears of factory shop workers half the world away. For a brand that makes its money by telling young women that they can do whatever.
Okay, to be fair, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. If you own a single piece of clothing in America and you live in America, it did not come from a, you know, sane source, you know, healthy source. Definitely, for sure. A lot of, like, 99% of things pretty much in America. Still issue.
As long as they put their mind
Bro, I swear, I can't take anything y'all say serious.
to it. It really sucks that they have factories out in Guangdong that exploit predominantly women in order to try and maximize profits.
That's actually,
the more I read into this, the more I realized that this is a huge operation and it is still very much ongoing, even as we speak. It's very easy for me to forget in my cushioned YouTuber life that these sorts of problems still plague the world, but rest assured, they still very much do. So unfortunately, there is no resolution to this video, but if you want to make my YouTuber life just a little bit more cushioned, you could check out my video on fast food's sickening scandals.
Okay, I think that's the end of the video. Great video. I honestly did not know a lot of that. I'm gonna be honest, this is like average fucking Monopoly company. Average Monopoly company. Every Monopoly company company like this probably is the same thing. Honestly, Hot Wheels probably the same thing. Like we were talking about things for boys. Things for boys growing up. Hot Wheels. Goddamn, all that WWE wrestlers. Oh man, it's a cruel world, and what can we do? I'm gonna be honest, nothing. I mean, what am I gonna do? Protest? That's too much work. You know, I'm gonna sit here very cushy in my chair, and no, I'm just playing. You guys, you know what? Do something positive. Do something positive to help that issue. Donate to a source. Like, I'm a real donator, okay? As a matter of fact, as proof, I'm gonna donate. Not as proof, but I'm gonna donate off stream. You know, I'm not gonna show the proof because like that would be too. That'd just be too showy. Like, I don't need to show all the proof of my donations, okay? Just do something good. Do something for the cause.